collector's coins. Unfortunately, most of the people who bought these so-called semi-numismatic coins, like the $20 St. Gaudens and Liberty Head gold coins, have not broken even on their investment. Incredible, given that gold has risen approximately 525% since then. So while timing is everything, if you buy the wrong coins, the timing simply doesn't matter. Having a dealer who cares about positioning you in the right types of coins or bullion will mean more to your portfolio than anything else. That's why I deal with Nick Rovich and AmFed Coin and Bullion. Whether you're buying or selling, call 800-221-7694. That's 800-221-7694. Or go to AmericanFederal.com, AmericanFederal.com.
Here's the Wall Street Business Report.
Meta is scaling back its investment in AI. Meta Platforms is cutting roughly 600 artificial intelligence jobs, even as it continues to hire more workers for its superintelligence lab. Gold seems to be losing some of its luster.
The precious metal continues to decline following its worst day in more than 5 years. Gold futures fell 1.4% early today, following yesterday's 5.3% slide. Gold still is up about 54% this year. I'm Rich Thomason.
Netflix helped drag the market lower after delivering a weaker profit for the latest quarter than analysts had been expecting. Netflix stock today was off by almost 10%. At the closing bell on Wall Street, all the major indexes showing that they suffered losses. The Dow was off by 334 points, the NASDAQ down 213. For the Wall Street Business Report, I'm Bob Agnew.
News and analysis at townhall.com.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening. A low temperature dipping down to 45. Tomorrow it's a carbon copy of today. Plentiful sunshine all day to go with a high temperature of 75. The gorgeous weather continues on Friday with more sunshine. For the weekend, not as nice. A blend of some sun, more clouds. We expect to stay dry, though. The rain will arrive on Monday and Tuesday of next week. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Sports Talk with Phil Kornblut and Chris Bergen. Sports Talk is heard across the state on radio affiliates of the Sports Talk Media Network and is streaming live on SportsTalkSC.com, as well as Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. The South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to call in is 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now, here are Phil and Chris with tonight's edition of Sports Talk.
All righty, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network on a wonderful Wednesday night here in the Palmetto State. Great to have you with us as you're heading home from work or out for a walk or maybe getting in a quick 9 this afternoon. What a beautiful afternoon in South Carolina. It's going to continue. Going to have a beautiful weekend. South Carolina at home to Alabama. Homecoming. Who schedules Alabama for homecoming? Not smart if you want to celebrate victory on homecoming, unless you feel like you're going to rise up and beat the Crimson Tide. I mean, South Carolina's got to be confident in that. You got to believe in yourself. You can't go into the game whether nobody else believes in you or not. You got to believe in yourself. And so I think they believe in themselves, and I think they're going to come out and they're going to play Alabama, I think, a really good football game. I really think South Carolina, and you're going to say you're just off your rocker. You have nothing to base that on, and you're right. I'm not off my rocker, but I have nothing to base that on. just a guess that, maybe they're going to put it together. I think the defense has, been pretty consistent most of the season. Not great, not horrible. And the offense has got to play better. Sooner or later, it's got to come together for them. And so why not? You're going to catch Alabama at a time when they've won 4 in a row over ranked teams. Their heads are in the clouds to some degree. They've got the rat poison spread out all over Tuscaloosa. Can they avoid that? I don't know. They were talking about Tennessee more yesterday than South Carolina. Maybe that's flipped inside their locker room. I know their coaching staff has probably got their hands full getting the attention of these guys unless they've got great leadership. Maybe Ty Simpson's a great leader, maybe Ryan Williams, maybe somebody else, and they say, hey, we've got one loss and we're undefeated in the SEC, and we can't lose an SEC game, take a second loss if we're thinking about having to go at large into the CFP. So let's take care of business. Let's go to Columbia, business trip, take care of business, and go home with a W. So I'm still going to take South Carolina and the points here, Chris Bergen from the Berge Palace. I'm still going to take South Carolina and the points. I haven't yet convinced myself to go South Carolina straight up, but I might take the plunge before the week is over here.
It would be great because, I mean, our show is fun when both teams are good. Our show's not a whole lot of fun when neither team is any good, and that's where we are right now. And if South Carolina were to pull off what would be a massive upset and a huge win for them this weekend, it would be huge. I can't see any way that happens unless Alabama, half the guys don't make the trip. Unless, Ty Simpson opts out of this game because he's done everything he thinks he can at Alabama and he's ready to go to the NFL. I don't see any way that putrid offense can score enough points against Alabama to stay in the ballgame. Sooner or later, the defense, as it has the last, pretty much all season long, sooner or later, the defense is going to break down just because they know if they give up 14 points or more, the game's over. Because their offense is not going to help them unless they score. And I don't think you can count on defensive scores and special team scores enough to make up for what has just been a miserable offensive output thus far.
Well, you can always hope. And I would think that from a South Carolina standpoint, for the team standpoint, I'm sure hoping that South Carolina fans aren't dumping their tickets into the secondary market, allowing Alabama to bring 20,000 fans, because they'll buy those tickets and they'll bring 20,000 fans.
Oh, no doubt.
To Columbia. It's homecoming. I would think they wouldn't do that simply because it's homecoming. And I would hope that if it's a reasonably close game at halftime, and I consider reasonably close to be 7 to 10 points, 14 points maybe even, but really 7 to 10 points, that you don't leave the stadium and not come back. I mean, there's got to be nothing more deflating than for the home team that stands on the one side of the stadium to look across and see half the students gone and parts of a good section of that upper deck across the way shining aluminum because there's no body sitting in there. And I got to say the same thing for Clemson fans too. Now, you don't get a pass either because you didn't pack it for SMU, and there were large parts of Death Valley that were empty as well in the second half on Saturday. So shame on you as well. So, I mean, we're at that stage now that I'm paying for these players. They're getting paid. If they're not living up to it, if they're not winning at all costs, that's what it's come to. It's come to winning at all costs. And if you're not winning at all costs, then I'm not going to physically support you. And quit calling me for more money.
Well, and that's the thing, Phil. I have a hard time criticizing fans, and I understand your point, and especially Gamecock fans because they're always lauded by their coaching staff as the greatest fans in the world. Then you have to stay and fight with your team when they're down and enjoy your team when they're playing well. But, yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. These are folks who are spending their hard-earned money to be entertained on Saturdays by paid professional athletes, and they're not being entertained, and the only recourse they have is to stop coming. That's the only thing that they can show as a fan base, whether it be Clemson, South Carolina, Coastal, PC, whatever the case may be. The only recourse you have as a fan, other than just not buying tickets, is just stop coming to the games. And that's the best way, as opposed to the protest yesterday that Josh covered with 35 people. Yeah. The only way fans can make their voices heard is to just stop coming and say, I'm not supporting this until you get it fixed.
All right, our phone number, and we're going to get to calls here early. Got a busy show, got some stuff to bring your way. And, of course, we've got Chalk Talk with Chuck and Ellis. That should be delightful tonight. And an SC Wild edition coming up tonight that you're going to want to stay tuned for with Major Billy Downer. Of course, you always want to stay tuned for SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. He's got a special guest tonight, Emily Curse, who's a biologist with DNR, but she also is the coordinator of the lottery for their hunting applications. And I know that's always anything having to do with hunting and applications and fees and all that kind of stuff. It's a touchy subject for the hundreds of thousands of hunters that we have in our state. So you want to stay tuned for that. You have a question or a comment for her or for the major, they'll be on at 7:35 tonight. Our phone number, 888-898-2525. That is the South Carolina Education Lottery Lucky number. And learn more about the lottery's impact at sceducationlottery.com/education wins. Playing for fun is a win for education. Our text line number, 803-900-4847. Brought to you by Larry Lucas Insurance with locations in Columbia and Lexington. Lots of messages have come into us there. We'll get to those as we move on through the program tonight. So let's go ahead and roll with the phone calls as we begin tonight over in Bishopville. Vern, welcome into Sports Talk. Good to have you with us.
Yes, man. Okay. You all know Carolina go win. It's homecoming and everything. They done fight all the black coaches on offense and everything. Why wouldn't they win? I've been trying to let everybody know Shane Beaver is the man. He's a bigger man than the one up there in Washington, D.C. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And stuff. He got it all going on. And so who next? Clayton White will be next if they don't win Saturday, but I know they're going to win and stuff like that.
So you're confident the Gamecocks are going to win Saturday?
If they don't win, Clayton White will be looking for a job.
Why Clayton White?
And Clayton White, he's the next brother up.
Stop, Vern. Stop.
Oh, I'm telling you.
Stop with the racist comments, man. That's unnecessary.
It's not racist. It's the truth. Hey, it's the truth. How many coaches you done fired since you've been there? 2? And they're the same color I am. Just as black as our top.
Nope. All right, Vern, thank you very much. Enough of that. You know, we don't stand for that kind of conversation here on the program. We appreciate – listen, we love to have your calls, any calls like that, but we're just not going to go there because it's ridiculous. And, you know, to think that kind of that's just not – I mean, you can think whatever you want to think. But Shane Beamer or any head coach is not going to be where they are by handling things in that manner. So he made the change. First of all, if you want to go black-white thing, you know, give him credit for doing that. He hired a black man to be his offensive line coach. And when he decided that it wasn't going well and it wasn't performing up to par, he made the change of an offensive line coach. Not a black offensive line coach, not a white offensive line coach, an offensive line coach. He made a change of an offensive line coach because he felt the job wasn't getting done. Okay? He has fired other coaches in the past, or he has moved coaches around regardless of all that kind of stuff. So that's just nonsense. I'm not going to have it. And thank you, Bergie, for shooting it down as well.
Well, it's just unnecessary. I mean, we can have a very spirited discussion about a lot of things, but racism has no place on this program or anywhere else. Had nothing to do with Lonnie Teasley being a black coach. If he were doing the exact same job and he was white, he would have gotten fired as well. The offensive line was not performing, bottom line, and Lonnie just happened to be in charge of that position.
Yeah, Vern,
now, if it doesn't improve, Sean Elliott may lose his job.
Vern, you're a better caller than that. Let's clean it up. You're a better caller than that. Let's go to Hank in Columbia. Next up here on the program. Hank, welcome in. How are you?
I'm doing fine. And what I will say, and I'm black, but what I will say is that even though the line still has work to go, in 1 week we had no offensive line penalties.
Mm-hmm.
and just not having those would have helped us win the Missouri and the LSU game, because every time we got down there in the red zone against LSU, we hit those penalties, killing us. Corin, the one thing I was calling about is when you, well, I guess what I'm trying to say is when you look at the team, that's what I want to say. You were talking about the fans. That's what I was calling about.
Mm-hmm.
And the students.
Mm-hmm.
Now, right before the game started, I'm actually on the field. So right before the game started, they had filled the student section, And,
whoa. How do you get on the field before the game?
I'm not going to disclose that, but I'm on the field for most games.
You're one of those. Okay.
He knows people, Phil.
All right. Okay.
So right before the maybe one time I see you in person, I'll tell you about it. But right before the game, the students had filled their section. But what I've noticed, and I've noticed this probably I've been on the field for probably over a decade. What I noticed on Saturday was, because I knew you were going to say something, because I said this is your little pet peeve. At halftime, and really right even before halftime, when it's 14-7, a number of the students, that section that they're in, they go up under there. If you weren't in the press box and were to come down, it's not actually that they leave. They all go up under into where the concession little circle is you walk around. And they sit there and they're on their phones. That's what Saturday what happened was.
What are those things I see? What are those things I see going down the sidewalk with their back to the stadium?
Oh no! Now when I will admit this now. When it got to a point, once it got to 17-7, not 17-7, there might have been that next score, the safety or whatever. They poured out of there like water. But they were there for the second quarter. I mean, the second half to start when it's 14-7. They kind of gave the team about 2 or 3 drives and decided they had enough. But I'm saying a lot of times when you'll see that Saturday, for whatever reason, because it was strange to me. When we started that morning on the field, it was pretty cool. It was nice. But it got a lot hotter than a lot of us thought it was going to get. And so when I at halftime, when I went up under, a lot of them go up there, they're on the phone. And so I'm not excusing it now. But I'm saying they don't. You'll see some backs, but you see a lot of them that go up under that stadium. And then they're there. I don't know what the thing is about being on your phone during a game when you could be out watching a game. But they had that whole place because there's something that I do. And we have to clear them to get to where I have to get to. Because they're all up under there on their cell phones or trying to arrange a date. I don't know what it is that they're doing.
Getting their bet placed, changing their bet, live betting.
That might be it. Because they're locked in. I mean, I'm having to say, excuse me, because they're locked in on those phones up underneath. And so once the temperature got a little bit warm, they all went up under there, probably because they drink too much in the morning. But,
all right, the forecast on this past Saturday, the forecast for this past Saturday, high of 66.
Oh, no, it got better. It got way better than the 66. I was on the field, Corn. Look, I wore shorts the first 3 or 4 games. This game, I wore long pants and a shirt. And there was a point where actually
I don't care if it was 110 degrees.
The little tent that they use, the Oklahoma tent, they use the injury tent. I sat down there to get out the sun.
If those players are out there sweating, the fans can be out there sweating as well. All right? Just as long as the air conditioning in the press box doesn't break, I don't care. I mean, seriously.
And remember, Phil, sports gambling in South Carolina is still illegal.
It's not legal yet?
No.
Not even offshore?
Not any. I said in our state.
Oh,
so unless these kids are leaving, going to Little River, taking a cruise out 3 or 4 miles, and then placing offshore, still not legal in our state.
I'm tired of excuses, people. I'm tired of excuses. We'll be right back.
When I grew up, I want to be a nurse. I want to be an engineer. I want to be a teacher.
There's never been a better time to start making their dreams come true. Future Scholar, South Carolina's 529 college savings plan, makes it easy to save for their future education. Contributions are tax deductible, earnings are tax free, and you can start saving right now with any amount. Go to futurescholar.com today to discover the smart, easy way to save for college. That's futurescholar.com.
I'm attorney Jim Corbett. That's the sound of a big hit on you and your car or truck. I've been an attorney for more than 30 years, helping people who get injured in car wrecks and truck wrecks. If you have serious injuries, call Jim Corbett, 803-765-2968, or email me at jim@jimcorbettattorney.com. That's CORBETT. I don't get paid unless I recover for you. Jim Corbett Attorney, for your best recovery from a big hit, 803-765-2968, or jim@jimcorbettattorney.com.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wow from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
There's a lot of things we take for granted in our lives. Your home's AC will run cool. Your drive-through coffee will be hot. And the car will start when it's time to take your kids to school. It's when things don't go as planned that you start thinking about who to call and where to turn. The good thing is, you can prepare for life's most difficult days by calling the Larry Lucas Agency today. Larry is a State Farm agent that has been taking care of people across South Carolina for more than 2 decades. You probably have insurance, but switching is easy, and bundling can save you hundreds or more. Most importantly, the Larry Lucas Agency can help you choose the protection you want at the price you want. All backed by South Carolina's #1 home and auto insurance company. Visit LarryLucasAgency.com today or give Larry a call at 803-799-1998. Like a good neighbor, Larry Lucas State Farm is there.
Traveling can be the worst, especially when you can't find your favorite show. Well, don't worry. We've got the perfect way to keep up with everything happening in the Palmetto State when you're away from home. Just pull up the Chief Sports app on your mobile device, and you can listen live to Sports Talk.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network.
So the next time you can't find us on one of our great radio affiliates, just log on to the Chief Sports app, the best way to stay connected with the Sports Talk Media Network.
One lottery ticket makes a big difference for our state students. And when I say big, I mean bigger than jackpot big. Since 2002, South Carolina students have benefited from more than $6 billion in lottery-funded scholarships and grants, including the Life, Hope, and Palmetto Fellow Scholarships. With every lottery play, you're supporting our students, and that adds up in a big way. That's why education is our middle name. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
Well, 2 major pieces of news in SEC baseball today, college baseball, national baseball. One was coming, and that, of course, Tony Vitello leaving Tennessee to become the new manager of the San Francisco Giants. But the shocking news came later, Florida announcing that Kevin O'Sullivan, the former Clemson assistant to Jack Leggett, is taking a leave of absence from his coaching duties to address personal matters effective immediately. So there you go. 2 of the major programs in the country. Tennessee has promoted one of their assistant coaches to the interim job, and Florida is – I haven't seen a follow-up story. Did they name –
They have. I can't remember who they said they were going to bring in, but they have named someone who's going to handle the program. Now, the sense I would imagine is that O'Sullivan will be back in time for the spring and the start of the season. But if he's not, I think they do have an interim coach in place.
Okay. They named it a leave of absence, so I would assume that does not mean he's stepping away permanently. I assume it means it's temporary.
Okay. Thank you for that, Plummer.
Billy Gonzalez is the interim head coach of the Gators.
For the Florida Gator football
team. That's
the
football team.
Oh, I'm sorry. He's there too.
He's going to handle.
He's going to handle both.
He's going to handle both.
Big job.
My
job for him.
Take Billy Napier instead of paying him that money. Make him coach the baseball team this fall. He can hit ground balls with the best of them.
Sure.
Yeah.
I just can't wait to see Tony Vitello's act and how it's going to translate to Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
As nuts as he is in the dugouts, it'd be fascinating to watch to see how that translates with paid professional athletes who are making much more money than he is.
Well, he was used to that at Tennessee as well.
It may have
that
been.
part won't be a change. Now, the amount of money that his players will be making where he goes now will be substantially more than they were at Tennessee, but he had some well-paid players. Let's go to Nick and Gaston next up here on Sports Talk on a Wednesday. Welcome, Nick. How are you?
I'm good, Corn. How are y'all?
We're terrific, sir. Good to have you.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game. I don't know who scheduled Alabama, but, you never know a team's record is going to be before you play them, but still, it might not be the best move for homecoming.
Well, I mean, hang on a second. I mean, you knew when you scheduled Alabama that Alabama was going to be good. I mean, Vanderbilt, you don't know. It would have been a surprise, to have Vanderbilt as your homecoming opponent and then Vanderbilt come in and smoke you and being real good. You knew 5 years ago, whenever you decided Alabama was going to be the homecoming opponent, whenever that was done, you knew Alabama was going to be good. But anyway, it doesn't matter. Alabama, LSU, Oklahoma, take your choice. It's all poison. It's all poison.
I'll say this as a Clemson fan, I thank God every day Nick Saban retired. Okay, I'm not ashamed to say that.
Mm-hmm.
No more Nick Saban, thank God. Yeah, but the Alabama against Carolina, not a good choice. You might have wanted to go for the Citadel or any other in-state team, but
Coastal's down there waiting. Berge, you could have been the homecoming opponent.
Well, in fairness, most schools try and get a homecoming at some point in time in October.
Yeah.
So your two home games were either Oklahoma or Alabama.
Yeah,
so
you have to work
pick.
with your school schedule. I get that. Yeah, got to work with the school schedule.
Yeah, but I'll say good luck to them. Good luck to them both. I don't have any. Carolina, Alabama, I could care less who wins. But anyway, like you said, man, it's rough to see the students leave, and I won't say, as far as Clemson goes, at least their coaching staff can point to the record and say, what have you done for me lately? Well, let's go back a couple of years. At least they got something to fall back on. So I'll say, as far as Coach Beamer, he needs to step it up a little bit so he can have some cushion when they come protesting coaches.
Yeah. All right, sir. Thank you very much.
Have a good day, man.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
Good one.
By the way, Plummer fed me some bad information. Go ahead, correct yourself.
But he did also give us some good information as well at the same time.
Okay, well, the Gators I can't even say it. I have to pull it up.
You gave me the wrong weather. You gave me the Clemson weather instead of the Columbia weather.
And Chuck Giraldo is going to be the interim coach.
On Point Weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening. A low temperature dipping down to 45. Tomorrow it's a carbon copy of today. Plentiful sunshine all day to go with a high temperature of 75. The gorgeous weather continues on Friday with more sunshine. For the weekend, not as nice. A blend of some sun, more clouds. We expect to stay dry, though. The rain will arrive on Monday and Tuesday of next week. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
The leaves are turning. The days are shortening, and the air is cooling. The call of the hunt, getting your gear together, and the walk to the stand are just the beginning of your next great hunting story. Palmetto State Armory is here to help get you prepared for this year's adventures. Top brands, trusted gear, unbeatable prices, and knowledgeable staff. Palmetto State Armory has everything you need to write your next story today.
Missions and with SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has announced new sanctions against Russia's two biggest oil companies and blasted Moscow's refusal to end its senseless war. The sanctions against Rosneft and Lukoil, as well as dozens of subsidiaries, comes after months of bipartisan pressure on Trump to hit Russia with harder sanctions on its oil industry. The Justice Department has announced an agreement with the University of Virginia to pause civil rights investigations. The Charlottesville campus became a target of President Trump's administration in April when the Justice Department began reviewing the university's admissions and financial aid processes. Officials accused its president of failing to end diversity, equity, and inclusion practices Trump has called unlawful. More details at srnnews.com.
Nobody plans for a plumbing problem. They come unannounced and usually at a very inconvenient time. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is your trusted ally. They recognize just how vulnerable a customer is at this time, and they want to help. They have well-trained plumbers who are there to make a difference when you need it most. I've experienced this. They're knowledgeable about their craft. They're not coming to your house to pitch new products. If something is broken, they'll give you a price to fix it if it's possible, or a price to replace it if necessary. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning is also locally owned and operated, or I simply wouldn't endorse them. Josh and his team prioritize customer service above everything else. They handle every issue with care and precision. Those are not just words. I've had Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning out to my home. They back up those words with their actions. If you have a crisis, get some peace of mind. Online, you find them at franklinplumbing.sc.com, or you call 799-2222. That's 799-2222. I'm absolutely positive they will make whatever is wrong right again. Franklin Plumbing and Drain Cleaning.
What's better than getting the best Wagyu and Hereford beef anywhere in these parts and getting it delivered to your door? How about knowing you're still supporting local farmers in Saluda over at H&J Cattle, where tradition meets quality? Visit HandJCattle.com. Place your order for $50 or more, get free delivery in Richland or Lexington County. Plus, Point listeners get 10% off your order. Enter keyword The Point as one word for your discount. HandJCattle.com.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system's ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
Are you in the market for an auto loan? Move now. Get an auto loan from Founders Federal Credit Union now through October 31st, and you'll be entered to win up to $25,000 toward your qualifying auto loan and a $5,000 deposit into your Loyalty Select account. Loyalty Select is our highest yield savings account. Leave it there to grow or transfer it out to spend. And the best part? We'll be choosing monthly winners, so the earlier you get your auto loan, the more chances you have to win. So don't wait. Visit foundersfcu.com/auto to learn more or begin your auto loan application today. Not a Founders member yet? Visit us online or stop by an office to learn more about Founders and see if you qualify for membership. We have the financial tools you'll need and the personalized service you deserve. Relax, you're with Founders. Terms and conditions apply. Membership qualification required.
All right, we're back. Sports Talk Media Network. Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber, Josh Cohen. 888-898-2525. South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number to reach us here on Sports Talk. Text line number 803-900-4847. Beautiful day in South Carolina. Head east, young man, to the beach, to Pawleys Island, to Garden City, Surfside, Myrtle Beach, Georgetown. And for a great place to stay, you don't want to stay in a hotel. You want to stay in a luxury condo. Maybe you want to rent a big old house. Maybe you want to buy a big old house. And Jimmy Smith's got a big old checkbook that you can add to. Not for him to write you a check, the other way around. Let Jimmy find you a great place to stay. 843-237-4246, online at PawleysVacationRentals.com. If you ask Jimmy to write you a check, he'd probably do it. The perfect beach getaway is just a phone call away for you to get in touch with Jimmy and the staff, and they'll set you up in a wonderful place at a price that fits your budget, at a size that fits your needs. 843-237-4246, PawleysVacationRentals.com.
I just sent him
Did
a
not
text.
realize that Jimmy was an ATM.
Well, yeah, I just sent him a text and I asked him for $50. So I'll let you know if I get a response this
Good
weekend.
luck. One thing I have not done this week, and I always like to do this, we got so busy on Monday, Tuesday, is to quickly recap what happened around the state with the other schools, because really there's no central place to go to. We do this on Sunday night, Monday mornings on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. You can see the results and some highlights from all the other games in the state. So Anderson lost to Carson Newman 28-6. Anderson's 5-3 and 3-3 in the SAC. Benedict remains undefeated. Beat Edward Waters 31-27. Got a touchdown catch with 29 seconds left. Benedict 24th in the D2 poll. What a year those Tigers are having. Charleston Southern went on the road. Got a very nice win at Western Illinois, 29-24. Zoltan Osborne, career-high 4 touchdown passes in the win. So good win there for the Buccaneers. Western Carolina and Citadel. What a game this was, Bergie. 45-38. So you hate it for the Bulldogs to lose that game. On the other hand, they're showing more and more life, more and more improvement. They are 3-4 and 2-2, and they play Furman this week. And 410 yards of offense for the Citadel, and most of that on the ground, 278 yards, 4 touchdowns on the ground. Erskine gets its first win, 23-19 over Shorter. Erskine is 1-6, 1-2 in their league. North Greenville beat UNC Pembroke, number 19 UNC Pembroke, 20-7. North Greenville, got to keep an eye on these guys. They are now 4-3 overall, but they're undefeated in the conference. They're 4-0. Dylan Ramirez, 202 yards passing and 2 touchdowns. Newberry, red hot, beat Mars Hill 38-24. How about this? Reed Sharpia, 23 of 37 for 291 and a touchdown. His receiver, Keith DeSaucher, 10 catches for 113 yards. Newberry is 6-1 and 5-1. Presbyterian beat Stetson 42-7. That's 40 points for the 4th consecutive home game. It was homecoming. They said they had over 7,000. Bergie.
Wow.
Yeah. People love a winner,
Bailey
don't they?
Stadium. Not sure Bailey Stadium can seat 7,000, but good for them.
7-0.
See what happens when the Cohens are involved?
Yeah.
Look how well
That's
they play.
right. Homecoming queen, Miss Cohen. Thank goodness she doesn't look like her brother. Holy cow. The Blue Hose, let's see, led by as many as 35. Colin Hurst, 19 of 27 for 236 and a touchdown. He did have 1 interception. And, of course, their winning streak continues. Wofford beat Furman 31-13. Here comes Wofford again, another late season move by the Terriers. Like last year, I think they won like their last 4? They have won their last 2, 31-13 now over Furman. And their defense came up with 3 interceptions, including a pick 6 by Javario Tinch. So Furman falls to 4-3 and 2-2. Wofford's 2-5 and 1-2 on the season. There you go. A look around the state.
If there ever were a year to renew the Bronze Derby, this would be it, right? You've got PC at 7-0. You've got Newberry at 6-1.
Yeah, PC's
But anyway.
they're turning their nose down to that. They're like, we don't need.
I know they are.
We're FCS, baby. We're going for an FCS championship. We're going to get in the playoffs, and we're going to go for an FCS national championship. That's going to be their plan. All right, to some text messages here. Then we're going to hear from Mike Shula. Let's see here. Okay, Lee reminded us from last night. Well, we asked the question last night. Couldn't remember. Brandon Streeter was the OC. Was the OC there at Clemson. So if Dabo Swinney were to make a move, and Larry Williams has implied that could very well happen, I mean, you've got right on the staff, you got Morris, right? As an analyst, Chad Morris. You got Chad Morris. Is he not still on the staff as an analyst? at Clemson? Have to double check and see if that's still the case. I think he's still on the staff as an analyst. So I'm just saying, keep that in mind if it comes to that. From a Gamecock Tony in Lancaster, Beamer can win 8 and 9 games in the SEC. If Beamer can win 8 and 9 games in the SEC, he will go 11 and 1 and 12 and 0 in the ACC. And Beamer is not leaving his dream job. That's in the SEC to go to the ACC, and he's picking USC 27, Alabama 24. Okay, wow. Tony. By the way, get your picks in. And if you nail the score, exactly, correct winner, correct score, we're going to take you to lunch. The plumber's going to take you to lunch at Seawells for the daily lunch. I went today.
So I'm fine with that, but you also have to pay for my meal and not just the listener.
No, you're treating the winner. We pay you enough that you can treat the winner. But I did go today, and it was really, really good. Really, really good. Let's see. We're going to skip all the Rays nonsense, and let's go to the next one here. Keep the players that are playing well, bench the rest. This is from the 843. Keep the players that are playing well, bench the rest, including Sellers. Put the players in that are playing with heart, not money. This season is gone either way. They are using the caboose at the wrong time and need to pull it at the end of the game. By the way, I saw where one of the NFL draft analysts on CBSSports.com, which I'm starting to wonder if they have anybody over there with any sense, he listed Lenore Sellers as the number 1 pick in the draft.
Wow.
I'm serious. He listed him as the number 1 pick in the draft. In his mock
we
draft.
Talked about before, Phil. Yeah, the NFL scouts look for potential in a lot of different things than what we see. But, I mean, just judging by what we've seen thus far on the field from him this year, there's no way he's the number 1 overall selection in the draft. At least in my opinion.
No, I mean, yeah, if you go by what you've seen so far this year. But then again, you have to decipher how much of it is on him and how much is it on the people around him and what's happening around him.
True. Very true.
I mean, they look at raw talent and the what you can develop at the next level. If you have a situation where you don't have to throw a guy out and start him right away, but they're talking about the Saints having the first pick, who's got Spencer Rattler, who's a young quarterback they're trying to develop. Do you spend that? If you believe in Spencer Rattler, why would you take Lenore Sellers with your first pick? Certainly, New Orleans has other needs besides a quarterback, unless they don't think Rattler's the answer, for the future. This is from Pick 6, talking about the protest yesterday that we covered exclusively on the radio, I think. 24 showed up at the Dump Schuler protest at the Russell House. I understand they tried to storm the place but were denied. Would you describe it as storming? Was it a storm?
It was more of a march.
I mean, did they, bang on the glass?
No, I mean, the doors are, you don't have to scan in. You don't have to go through security. You just walk right in.
They really weren't trying to storm the Russell House.
No, and they didn't have any violence to it at all.
I understand they tried to storm the place but were denied. Very fitting that a Dump Schuler protest denied up the middle. That's good. I didn't read that part.
That's very good. Yeah, that's very good.
That gets, do we have a little reward for that? Some kind of sound reward? That's good. That's good. All right. Well, that's okay. This is Ron in Charleston. Let's see. Make sure I got these in order. Okay, this is Ron in Charleston. It's not all on the OC, but we have a 7-game sample, and the stats don't lie, even when fully healthy. Carolina's offense was offensive to watch. Isn't it time you ban or at least suspend this genius Vern? Yeah, he's been reprimanded. He's been reprimanded. He knows better. That won't happen again. And this is from 803. You still have Jeff Scott up there still. Yeah. But you know what? People have the wrong impression about Jeff Scott. Jeff Scott never called a play when he was at Clemson. That was all Tony Elliott. They were the co-coordinators. Mm-hmm. Tony Elliott ran that offense. I mean, they might have combined on drawing up plays and thoughts, but Tony Elliott, he called the plays. That was never Jeff Scott. And I hear Jeff Scott's tearing it up in the real estate business up there at the lake, one of those lakes, Hartwell or Kiowee, I'm not sure which one. He might not be interested in getting back into football. You know, he's got plenty of money from South Florida. He's making plenty of money apparently in real estate.
Good for him.
Yeah, so I don't think that would be if it ever came to that. I think if he decides to make a change, I think you got your answer right there in Chad Morris. Huh? I really do. All right, let's run to the break and hear from Mike Shula. He met with the media today, and he was peppered. I mean peppered. He was peppered with questions. Did you ever play pepper in baseball?
Oh, yeah.
You ever see those signs that said around stadiums that said no pepper? Never could figure out why they had signs that said no pepper. Was that because they didn't want the field to be worn down right in that area or something? Used to love to play pepper.
They ran out of salt.
I guess. All right, Mike Shula coming up after the break.
In Columbia, South Carolina, game days are our specialty. Whether you're watching the game from inside the stadium or from the big screen at your favorite local spot, the energy remains the same. Craft the perfect fall Saturday in a city where there is plenty of action on and off the field. From tubing and kayaking to Soda City to rooftop restaurants and plenty barbecue. We're ready when you are. Plan your weekend at experiencecolumbiasc.com.
Your home is where your memories live. It's where you laugh and where you love. We understand the importance of the valuables under your roof, tangible and intangible alike. So no matter what's around the corner, we'll be there, offering you and your family the support that's made Farm Bureau Insurance a trusted name for nearly 70 years. You deserve more. You deserve a promise. Learn more at scfbins.com.
Call me, Alex Satterfield, at 803-749-9171 for all of your Midlands insurance needs.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
Hi, I'm Lisa Hosteller Brown. Did you know your will is designed for your assets to pass through the probate court? If you want to keep your loved ones out of court, a revocable trust is a great place to start. Visit lawyerlisa.com for more information and to see how we can help.
Call Lawyer Lisa. Experience the difference with Lawyer Lisa.
7511 St. Andrews Road, Irmo, South Carolina.
Hi, this is Major Billy Downer, and coming up tonight at 7:30, it's another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources on the Sports Talk Media Network.
South Carolina's taste buds have spoken, and they're asking for beef. There are more than 7,800 farms raising cattle from pasture to plate in the Palmetto State. So whether it's steaks on the grill before the big game, sirloin medallions plated for date night, or burgers with the family, make sure beef is a part of your playbook this football season. Smoked, grilled, and slow roasted. Find the best way to enjoy your beef at sccattle.org. Beef. It's what's for dinner in South Carolina. Funded by the South Carolina Beef Council, part of the Beef Checkoff program.
When South Carolina's best high school football players take the field at the Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, they're backed by a powerful team of their own. As proud title sponsors, your local co-ops celebrate more than just a game. It's a tradition where talent shines, where teamwork matters, and where community spirit takes center stage. Don't miss the 78th Touchstone Energy Cooperatives Bowl, December 13th at Doug Shaw Memorial Stadium in Myrtle Beach, powered by your electric cooperative.
Hi, Phil Kornblut here with our good friend George Bryan III, heard every Friday night on Birdies, Bogeys, and Biceps right here on Sports Talk. George, the Tsunami Bar, a very valuable tool for golfers. Why is that?
Well, the first thing that I say is the tempo. It's the only tool out there that allows the study of tension right from the first grab to be expressed, and rhythm and tempo is what makes the bar work and it gives you something awfully special to keep those hands soft and get that rhythm going.
Learn more about Tsunami Bar technology by clicking on the digital ad on our website, SportsTalkSC.com, and save 5% by purchasing online using the promo code BBB5.
He's got a mic in his hand, a voice so smooth. Phil Cornwood's the name, they call him Corn Coot. Sports talk king, yeah, he rules the air. But neutrality, man, it's just not there. He says he's balanced, calls it down the line. But those Gamecock colors, they always shine. Corn Coot, oh Corn Coot. Says he's neutral, but we see the truth.
All right, today, Mike Shula, USC offensive coordinator, as they do on Wednesday. The coordinators meet with the media. We have questions and answers from the USC OC.
Just looking back at the Oklahoma game after film study, what was it that you guys saw maybe before the game to think that the runs up the middle would work? And it seemed to be just during the game they weren't working very well, yet you guys were really trying to pound it in there.
Yeah, so we had a couple hit early, and each week you look at running the ball, throwing the ball, mixing it up, and sometimes you have to, there's plays that you hit that early in the game might not be good, that might open up later. Unfortunately, we weren't good enough and didn't have as much, success there. And they're good on defense too. So, there's been other times where we've had where gains early in the game, runs early in the game have been that way, and then they popped. This season. So yeah, unfortunately, we didn't get in a good rhythm in any case. And but yeah.
Hindsight can obviously be 20/20, but are there any particular calls or situations that you look back to from Saturday where you're like, hey, I'd kind of like to have that back, do it over maybe?
Yeah, we were on to these guys now, but yeah, you look back every week and probably say that. But there's a fine line in second guessing yourself or obviously looking and becoming and looking into it and becoming better. There's certain they do a good job on defense where where they'll bring zones and they'll bring blitzes and drop guys out, and the ones that you really look at as a play caller is if you're looking there and there's nothing available either with the first guy or the second guy, and there might have been one play like that, but they're good too. But yeah, you have to go back and continue to evaluate, and depending on the defense, like this week too, just making sure we're giving our guys the best chance to operate, run game or pass game wise.
When the protection struggles, kind of like it has at times this year, how much does that affect how you play call during a game and kind of change from what it is you normally want to do going into it?
Yeah, well, protection involves everybody. It's not just the offensive line. It's not just the running backs. It's the quarterback getting the ball out on time. It's the receivers getting open on time. It's all of us as coaches and players, and making sure that we, the protection's probably going to be a lot better on 1st and 10 than it is on 2nd and long or 3rd and long. So staying out of those situations, you try to get a balance each and every week in that regard, and try to stay ahead of the chains. I think on our drives and throughout the year, you would say when we're staying ahead of the chains and not getting behind them, you have, all those things are, you're protecting better. The ball's coming out. So, and there's different kinds of protections too. So you look into different protections. You look into making sure that you try your best not to put your guys in a bad matchup situation, protection wise. So different ways you can do that. And, it's all hands on deck in regards to, having the different protections.
Early in the season, you guys hit on a couple deep passes, and I'm curious, how do you balance right now as a play caller of wanting to have some of those deep shots? The one to Van Dravius ended up in a PI, and that worked out well, but also knowing, hey, I don't know how many I can call of these because I'm not sure how long Lenoris is going to have.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. Again, you want to stretch the field. You want to have the defense have to cover the whole field in regard to, down the field, intermediate, short, sidelines, all that kind of stuff. You want to help your linemen where you're not just saying, hey, we want to throw the ball down the field and you got to protect, because that's not advantageous either. So you got to have a good mix in that, and running game helps in that too. So, you need to. There is a balance, a delicate balance, and the other thing that's you have to make sure as a play caller is you don't quite leave things too early in the game and just kind of like, hey, we got to just throw it on every down, which is hard if you're not, if you don't have the lead and things like that. So, those are things we continue to look at, and we do it based on, hey, what's the best thing for our players? What gives them the best chance to operate? Is it throwing it every down, or is it, hey, mixing in runs, mixing in inside runs, outside runs, draws, screens, things like that?
Mike, when you're getting deep into the red zone, how much thought or temptation goes into maybe just having Lenoris run the ball, considering what he can do in that regard? Yeah, no, we have those. We've done that, and he's a weapon, both running the ball and throwing the ball. But you also don't necessarily want to run like he ran the ball. I think a couple times, 22 times. I think a couple games ago, and I don't know if that's the best thing for him. He's physical, he's tough, and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, you want to use him as a weapon, and when you do that, put him, have a scheme up where, it's not necessarily what you might have the, our normal running backs run. You want to have him run things that are just maybe a little bit, so to speak, cleaner. Those running backs are used to those dirty runs, so to speak, those ones where they just got to kind of halfway run through somebody. So you don't want to do that for him. But there's different ways you can do that. There's quarterback draws, there's counters, there's outside runs, and then a couple other ways to do it.
Seems like even when offenses are going well, everybody hates the play caller. Have you lost any self-confidence in yourself? Do you still kind of just believe in your philosophies and principles and everything that you've grown to know over the years?
Yeah, you have to have confidence. So what do we ask our players to do, right? We ask our players to have confidence, believe in themselves, keep working hard, believe and trust in what they're doing and their guys around them. And so if we do that as coaches, if we ask our players to do that, we have to do the same thing. Plus, we have so much, there's so much each week to have to dial in and be really good in preparation. You don't have time to kind of think about, hey, being down on yourself or what's, this is being said or that. You just kind of know. You sign up for this coaching and playing because you love football. And you sign up because you love to compete. And if I take time away from preparing to help our football team compete and go win games, then I'm cheating everybody around me. And I won't do that.
Okay, Mike Shula. Boy, Gamecock fans are hoping that he dials up something very effective against Alabama on Saturday. And we'll be back with the coaches.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. A large-scale Russian drone and missile attack across Ukraine has killed at least 6 people, including a woman and her 2 daughters.
In the Kyiv region, rescuers discovered the bodies of 3 people, including 2 children, after a strike set a private house ablaze in the village of Perebi, the regional governor explained. The victims were a woman and her 2 daughters. Others were found dead in the Dnipro district of the Ukrainian capital, where emergency services rescued 10 people after a fire caused by drone debris hit the 6th floor of a 16-story residential building.
Correspondent Charles de Ledesma reporting. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent tonight announced new sanctions against Russia's 2 biggest oil companies and blasted Moscow's refusal to end its senseless war. The sanctions against Rosneft and Lukoil, as well as dozens of subsidiaries, comes after months of bipartisan pressure on President Trump to hit Russia with harder sanctions on its oil industry. Police charged the mother of a baby abandoned in a New York City subway station.
She's a 30-year-old Queens woman and faces charges of abandoning and endangering a child. The newborn was left Monday at a passageway at the 34th Street Penn Station subway stop during the morning rush hour. Commuters saw the newborn in blankets, alerting police. The baby was taken to the hospital in stable condition. New York's safe haven law allows parents to leave a newborn at safe places like hospitals, firehouses, police stations without prosecution, but notification must be made. Julie Walker, New York.
On Wall Street, the Dow down by 334 points, the Nasdaq dropped 213. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Every time I turn around, my friends at Pure Talk give me one more reason to feel good about switching. This month, for instance, they're supporting Canines for Warriors, a terrific organization that trains rescue dogs and then pairs them up with combat veterans struggling with PTSD. The result? They're saving lives on both ends of the leash. This is why I switched to Pure Talk. I like being in business with an American wireless company who shares my values. Yeah, I appreciate unlimited talk, text, and plenty of 5G data for just $25 a month, and I bet you will too. But I think you'll really appreciate doing business with a company who gives back to the men and women who volunteered to defend our country. Just dial pound 250, say micro. With Pure Talk's U.S. customer service team, you can switch in as little as 10 minutes. Again, dial pound 250, say micro, to switch to an American wireless company who actually stands for something. Pure Talk.
One hopeful sign from the Israeli-Hamas ceasefire is an increase of food distribution at multiple sites in Gaza. Correspondent Charles de Ledesma has the story.
Images released by the UN's World Food Programme on Tuesday show the distribution of food moving smoothly in the Gaza Strip. The head of the WFP in Gaza, Willy Nyeko, says his aims to scale up aid deliveries inside Gaza amid the ceasefire.
As the ceasefire holds, we plan on expanding to 145 of those sites throughout the Gaza Strip.
WFP is aiming to provide up to 1.6 million people with bread, wheat, flour and food boxes in the first 3 months of the ceasefire. I'm Charles de Ledesma.
Vice President Vance is in Israel at this time. News and analysis at townhall.com. From Washington, I'm Keith Peters.
On Point Weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening. A low temperature dipping down to 45. Tomorrow it's a carbon copy of today. Plentiful sunshine all day to go with a high temperature of 75. The gorgeous weather continues on Friday with more sunshine. For the weekend, not as nice. A blend of some sun, more clouds. We expect to stay dry, though. The rain will arrive on Monday and Tuesday of next week. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
WQXL Columbia, W264DF.
From the Bart Fireside Studio, the solution for keeping you warm this winter.
This is 107 The Point. This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
Welcome back to Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network. You can reach the guys with the South Carolina Education Lottery lucky number, 888-898-2525. That's 888-898-2525. Now back to Phil and Chris with the second hour of Sports Talk on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Talk Media Network here on a wonderful Wednesday. Here on the Sports Talk Media Network, Phil Kornblut, Chris Bergen, and the plumber, Josh Cohen. We got some recruiting coming up in a few minutes, but right now it is time to educate you on the game of football from two people who can educate you better than anyone else you'll hear on the radio anywhere in the world.
Get ready for a deep dive into the X's and O's. This is Chalk Talk with coaches Chuck Reedy and Ellis Johnson on the Sports Talk Media Network.
And it's presented by Palmetto Sports Connections. Today's Palmetto Sports Connection is Monty Quinn. You may have heard of that record performance last weekend at Curry College in Massachusetts. for all NCAA divisions, rushing for 522 yards on only 20 carries. He's out of Stratford. In that game alone, he tied the school record for touchdowns with 7. 399 of the yards were on touchdown runs of 85, 84, 76, and 65 yards. He's gone over 1,000 yards each year he's been in college. As a sophomore, 1,618. That was a school record. Last year, he broke that with 1,652 with 13 touchdowns in 10 games. At Palmetto Sports Connections, they strive to inform and enlighten you with the ways the state of South Carolina has been a part of moments in sports history through its people, places, schools, and teams. More coming soon from Palmetto Sports Connections. All right, let's welcome in Coach Reedy. That had to be music to your ears, and Coach Johnson, talking about a guy running for 522 yards. You would have loved to have been the guy calling that game.
Yes, I would have. South Carolina and Clemson need him.
Oh.
I don't think they've had 500 yards rushing the whole year between the two of them.
They need to orchestrate a trade. There's a reason they used to call you. How'd you enjoy the nickname Ground Chuck? Did you like that nickname?
Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I mean, yeah, I did. I mean, I tried to live it too.
Yes, you did. Of course, I mean, really, during your heyday there at Clemson with Danny Ford, like who was calling the plays? Was it you or Ford?
Well, Danny never called any plays. He didn't like. He never liked anything we called unless it worked, and then he liked it. But every play we called, he'd say, "Oh, that ain't gonna work." But anyway, yeah, no, he didn't call any plays.
Well, let me ask you this. So it seems like calling plays must be easy because, like, everybody on the internet knows how to call plays. You know, if you just watch these guys breaking down video and they're doing their little drawing on the video and with their yellow lines and their red lines, and this guy should be here and that guy should be there, and why don't it must be easy, right? Is it that easy to call plays?
I can assure you, it's not easy. not if you're doing a good job of it, anyway.
What makes it hard?
Well, because you're playing against guys like Ellis on the other side. I mean, they're pretty smart too, you know, and they got good players too, you know, and you're trying to figure out, you know, how to outsmart them, and that's challenging.
Ellis, would you, when you were calling your defensive plays, how would you call your defensive plays? Would you educationally be guessing with what you think the other guy is going to be calling on offense, or what were you looking at? What were the keys as you were calling your defensive schemes out there?
Well, your objective is not to guess. Your objective is to have studied them well enough that you have a high percentage of what they like to do in that situation, and hopefully put yourselves in good defense. Same thing on offense. But every time play is called on defense, you got to know where the ball's located. You got to know both yard line and relative to the sidelines, hash marks. You got to know the personnel on the field, and then you got to know the down and distance. And those three things, in most cases, those three things, you got to know them every play to make a logical call. Now, one thing I did different, I learned it from Bill Oliver. When I got to Alabama and was working with him, and I was into my 40s by then, and I had coordinated at two different colleges, but he taught me break the film down in a game from the first play to the last play. Don't be looking at cut-ups. And if everybody know what cut-ups are, that's when they put all the bootlegs on the film. They put all the short yardage on the film. They put all of this on the film. And coaches go in there and study that stuff and get a game plan for it. And he just said, I don't know how you call a game. He said, you're going to be calling the game against that guy calling the offense.
So let's look at Clemson from Saturday. Defensively, Ellis, and they couldn't stop SMU when they had to. This has been a thing with the Clemson defense, I think, all season long in the games that they've lost. When they've had to come up defensively with a stop to help save the day, they haven't done it.
Phil, you took my whole line out of, I might as well go ahead and pass up. That's exactly. It's plagued them a little bit all year. But when you look at the way they played, SMU, they had to punt the football and kick a lot of field goals, and they were not successful on a lot of series as far as those things. But when it was really gut time, and Clemson's offense without their quarterback, they needed the ball back as quickly and as often as they could get it, because they needed to have a lot of play calls and not have to ask Azina to make 6 great plays every time he went on the field. But they were always playing catch-up. But you're exactly right. Like they came out the second half, 4 plays punt, 3 plays punt. Then all of a sudden, 4 plays TD, 75-yard drive, 6 plays TD. They did throw a pick the next time. That was a big play at a critical time. But defensively, I think they did capitalize. But then the very last drive was 13 plays for a touchdown. And at the time, they were only losing by 4 or 5. I think they were losing by 5. They could have got a stop right then. They had a great shot to win the game. But you hit it on the head. They're not making critical stops at critical times. But overall, they're playing decent defense.
Ellis, you got to tip your cap to Vizina. He did his part in trying to get that offense moving. He was sacked too many times, I would say, and they had no running game whatsoever to speak of. So once again, against an opponent with a pulse, they can't run the ball.
Well, you don't let for Chuck or me.
That was for Chuck. I'm sorry. That was for Chuck.
No,
that was an offensive question, Ellis. You can nap during the offensive part of the, of
you
the
ain't
show.
been paying me for that, so I'm not answering.
No. They can't run the ball a lick. They're not going to. They're going to have a hard time beating anybody. If you can't run it, and the other day, if you noticed, Randall, he looked like he was in slow motion. And, I figured, that this was going to happen. He's getting beat up just like Moffitt did last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand. I coached running backs at Clemson for 12 years. We always played 2 running backs, always. And, and they've gone out there the last 2 years and they got one guy. And you could see Randall he's beat up. He didn't even look like the same guy he looked early in the year. And, I don't understand. They don't have 2 running backs. They have done a poor job recruiting or something's wrong because, they're in a really bad situation at running back. And, obviously the offensive line is not doing a very good job blocking. But, they're not very good at running back right now.
Larry Williams from Tiger Illustrated is not reporting this, but he wrote yesterday a couple of different times. He's getting the feeling that there will be a change. Not could be, will be a change with the offensive coordinator's job. Chuck, you and I were together in Charleston the night that story broke. Remember, I was doing the show from the Comeback Shack with you.
Yep.
And we talked about what a home run hire that was. Why has it not worked, in your opinion, to this point?
Well, Garrett Riley, he's a young guy still. He had the one really good year at TCU. He had a really good quarterback. He gets the Burroughs Award. But, if you go back and he doesn't have, a track record of great offenses. And, it just it hadn't changed in 3 years. They certainly haven't gotten any better. They improved a little bit last year, but they've regressed this year. So, and that falls on the offense coordinator. He's making $2 million and, and they're not very good on offense. So, that's his responsibility.
Yeah, it certainly is. Their own coaches everywhere, all over the country, offensive, coordinators in particular. If it's not getting done, the head coach is, looking to make a change in many cases, Ellis. Let's go to South Carolina, Ellis, and look at the Gamecock defensive performance against Oklahoma. How would you, even though it was a 26-7 final score, 14-7 at halftime, how would you overall grade their defensive performance?
I think they played okay. When you can't run the ball and stay on the field on the other side of the ball, much less score points, then it really starts to wear on you. Mateer for Oklahoma looked like he's starting to get back to 100%. Probably had a full week of practice, and he didn't going into the Texas game. And, of course, he didn't play well against them. I thought it was a lot better against Carolina. Maybe some of it was because of Carolina. But, they just didn't run up and down the field. They 21st down. I always think 24 is sort of a mark of a real successful day on offense, about 6 a quarter. But 50% third down, whatever. They're pretty balanced. I don't think South Carolina ever really shut them down or stopped them. But and they didn't turn the ball over. They didn't get a single takeaway. And that's what their football team's been living off of, kicking game, big plays, and defensive takeaways. That really got Carolina some victories earlier in the season, and they're not coming right now. I don't know what it is. But, yeah, I didn't think it was too bad. South Carolina's defense and Clemson's defense, they both ranked okay in scoring defense. And Clemson 27, South Carolina's 31. I mean, those aren't great things. They're not in the top 10 or whatever, but they're not playing bad at all on those, either one of them on that side of the ball. They're, like I said, they're just not making critical plays at critical times.
All right, Chuck, the offensive side at South Carolina, I mean, it's really gotten crazy with folks just raining down their fury on Mike Shula. A little juvenile protest by some students yesterday at the university. You ever heard about that? You ever heard of a group of students actually going out and marching and calling for the firing of a coordinator? Not the head coach, but the coordinator.
I think he's the same guy that was the coordinator with the Panthers when they went to the Super Bowl. I think. I could be wrong. But, the guy, he's a guy that's been around. He's been around some good offenses. He's playing with a short hand. I mean, their offensive line is not very good at all. Their running backs are very, very average. Their receivers are very, very average. And they've got a quarterback that, has played very average. So, he's not playing with a loaded hand, that's for sure. But it goes back to the same thing. He's the offensive coordinator, and he's the one that's going to catch the blame, and he's the one responsible. So, that goes with the job.
Yeah. Did you see it? Now, one thing that Shane Beamer pointed out was that they had no penalties on the offensive line, no pre-snap penalties, so he thought that was a small step forward, and I guess you got to look for anything positive to build on. And he feels now that they've had another week with Sean Elliott this week, he expects this offensive line, and he's got 5 of the 6. He's going to be without Case and Henry, the starting right tackle. He's got 5 of the 6 back healthy. I mean, he's sort of dishing that the offensive line is going to be better against Alabama this week.
Well, I think Sean Elliott is a really, really good football coach, and so they're going to get better. They're going to improve, but they've got a long way to go. And Alabama's probably right now playing better than anybody in the SEC. So they've got a really tough challenge ahead of them. And and again, like I said, I mean, the running backs are average. I don't know what's going on with Lenore Sellers. I mean, he's certainly just been a very average player. He's not making plays with his feet, and he's been inconsistent throwing the football.
Did you like when you had it 1st and goal at the 1? Did you like just turning and handing the ball to a running back and challenging your offensive line to go get that 1 yard?
Yes, I did. Yes. I mean, of course. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've got to believe that you can get 1 yard. I mean, if you can't do that, then you're going to have a hard time beating anybody. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, So yes, to answer your question,
But you were always under center. Your guys were always under center.
we were always under center. Yeah, we were always under center. You know, and we always had a lead blocker. You know, because we had a fullback and we had two backs all the time. So you know, we had a lead blocker, and we had Tracy Johnson was the guy. You know, for some of those years, and you know, he was a big, strong guy, and we had a blocker in front of him. I mean, but you know, we liked the idea of having a guy that wasn't 7 yards deep. You know, that's another thing now. I mean, you're handing the ball off, you know, to a guy that's 5, 6, 7 yards deep. You know, we wanted our guy. He was about 4 yards from the ball. You know, and it's less chance of penetration and everything else when you're not as deep as they are now.
Ellis, you get the last question. What do you think Clayton White's going to dial up against Ty Simpson? He's been a red-hot quarterback. They got a lot of weapons. They spread the ball around. There's not really, except maybe Ryan Williams. I guess you can kind of focus on him, but, I mean, they really have a lot of receivers with a lot of catches. What do you dial up here defensively?
Yeah, I don't see him making any kind of wholesale scheme changes or any great game plan stuff. You know, they just got to keep doing what they're doing. They're not experienced in a lot of positions. Well, they're 6-game experience, but they don't have a lot of 3- and 4-year veterans over there like they did last year. And so you can't do too much different. I do think the problem with Alabama is they're so balanced on offense. And you just can't say, well, we're going in and take that running back away. They're in trouble. If we go in there and get after Simpson, they're in trouble. They're very balanced. And that's going to be the difficulty for Carolina. And then, of course, the other thing is, you know, how many times are they going to have to come back on after 3 and outs and stuff like that. So, you know, how the offense performs is going to either help them or break them. And then they're really going to have some help to get off the field. Alabama's offense, I think, right now is the most efficient I've seen.
Mm-hmm.
They're just playing very well in all areas. Kids executing. I mean, like a coach on the field. He's smart. He's tough. He's mentally tough. It's just going to be very difficult for them.
Gentlemen, a pleasure to have you with us once again here tonight on Sports Talk. Chuck, thank you very much. Have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Very good. Thank you.
Coach Johnson, thank you so much for joining us. You have a great week. We'll talk to you next week.
Sounds great. Thanks, Phil.
There you go. Thank you very much. Two of the greats, Chuck Reedy, Ellis Johnson. And I don't say that simply because they just talk to us. You know, they're the last ones who'll talk to us. They are two of the greats.
I always learn really cool stuff, interesting stuff. I'd never heard a coach break down, you know, what's the goal for first downs? 24. I thought it was fascinating. I looked it up. I looked it up. Carolina's averaging 17 a game, and Clemson's averaging 21 a game.
Ellis is fantastic in knowing the stats that you have to keep a team to be good on defense. Be right back.
Great.
This is Major Billy Downer with the Department of Natural Resources, and I've got a message for all of our hunters out there. When you go afield, always make sure to positively identify your target. Know the identifying features of the game you're hunting, and know what's beyond your target in case you miss. If you want more information on hunter education, visit dnr.sc.gov or join us on Wednesday nights for SC Wild.
You can listen to SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network or at dnr.sc.gov/podcasts.
You were always more than my mom. You were my role model, my best friend, and biggest supporter. You filled my days with unconditional love, and you also prepared for the day when you couldn't be here. Because of the woman you were back then, I'm able to be the woman I am now. Your planning made this moment possible.
Set your family up for life. Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance. Your friends for life.
Life insurance isn't for you. It's for those you love the most. For a complete insurance review, call Buddy Bridges in Lawrence County at 864-923-2174, serving Lawrence, Clinton, and the shores of Lake Greenwood.
Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi. Not licensed to do business in all 50 states. You work hard for your money. Shouldn't your money work hard for you too? Think about all the hours you've put in, the late nights, the early mornings, the dedication to your craft. Now imagine those dollars doing some of the heavy lifting for a change, growing quietly in the background while you focus on what matters most. Whether you're saving for a dream vacation, a new home, or just building a cushion for peace of mind, putting your money to work is one of the smartest moves you can make. Open a certificate at Founders Federal Credit Union and earn more with your savings. For a limited time only, Founders is offering 18-month certificates at 4.32% annual percentage yield and 18-month IRA certificates at 4.58% annual percentage yield. To get started, visit foundersfcu.com/dividend rates or one of our many convenient office locations. All you need is $500 to get started, but don't delay. These rates won't last. Open your certificate today. Your future self will thank you for opening a certificate at Founders. Federally insured by the NCUA. Membership qualification required. $500 minimum balance. 18-month term. Dividends compound quarterly. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.
You've put in the work for your education. The extra early, extra late, extra work. That's because you understand education opens doors to better pay, better opportunities, and a better you. Being educated about playing the lottery is no different. It helps you be a better player, one who knows when to play and when to take a rain check. The lottery's a game, so let's keep it fun. Learn more at sceducationlottery.com/betteryou.
The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
All right, time for recruiting brought to you by Seawell's. I did go to Seawell's today for the daily luncheon buffet. It was great seeing the hundreds of you out there today. Thank you so much for turning out in big numbers. You were not disappointed. You need to get to the daily luncheon buffet at Seawell's tomorrow from 11 till 2 o'clock for only $15. 11, make that, 1125 Rosewood Drive, right across from the Rocket at the State Fairgrounds. And for all your catering needs, give Seawell's a call, 803-771-7385. All right, South Carolina very much in the hunt still despite the change with the offensive line coach with offensive tackle Joshua Sam Appel of Douglasville, Georgia. He still has USC and Georgia as his top two, though he says USC has slipped a little bit. He is coming in for the Alabama game. Also visiting South Carolina Saturday, 27 cornerback Josh Dobson, 27 receiver Jaden Kelly Murray, 27 receiver Malik Miller, 27 offensive tackle Nate Carson, 28 receiver Teru Davis. Dutch Fork defensive end Julian Walker, who made an official to USC last weekend, said in an article on 247 he remains committed to Michigan. He'll finalize his plans after his mother visits Ann Arbor with him for the Ohio State game. Just a few minutes ago, linebacker Braden Riley of Cincinnati, who was recently offered by Clemson and others, decommitted from Northwestern. 2027 defensive end Jaden Bryant of Irmo was offered by Ole Miss. 27 cornerback Hayden Stepp of Las Vegas offered by Clemson. He visited last weekend. Clemson target 27 offensive tackle Carter Jones to visit LSU this weekend. 27 offensive tackle Ty Johnson of Lucy Beckham offered by Liberty. 27 defensive back Rodrigan Cranford of Hartsville to visit North Carolina Saturday. Be right back.
On Point weather on 107 The Point.
Here's tonight's forecast. Clear and cool this evening, a low temperature dipping down to 45. Tomorrow it's a carbon copy of today. Plentiful sunshine all day to go with a high temperature of 75. The gorgeous weather continues on Friday with more sunshine. For the weekend, not as nice, a blend of some sun, more clouds. We expect to stay dry, though the rain will arrive on Monday and Tuesday of next week. I'm Cal Moss with your On Point local weather.
Hey y'all, this is Ted at Flight Deck Restaurant. We are now introducing a fast and price breaker lunch special menu. Pick any item for only $9.95. Here's what we have to offer. Single grilled pork chop, spaghetti with house salad garlic bread, single grilled chicken, chicken salad cold plate, chicken tenders, small Greek salad, grilled bacon and cheese, small chef salad, pepperoni pita pizza, small chicken tender salad. All meals except salads come with one side. Come and enjoy a delicious lunch for only $9.95. Serving from 11 to 2 every day. Flight Deck Restaurant in Lexington. Thanks y'all and God bless.
Mom, With SRN News, I'm Keith Peters in Washington. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent announced new sanctions Wednesday against Russia's two biggest oil companies and blasted Moscow's refusal to end its senseless war as U.S.-led efforts to end the war floundered and the Ukrainian president sought more foreign military help. The sanctions against Rosneft and Lukoil, as well as dozens of subsidiaries, followed months of bipartisan pressure on President Trump to hit Russia with harder sanctions on its oil industry. New York City's mayoral candidates are meeting for their final debate. Democratic nominee Zoran Mamdani, former Governor Andrew Cuomo, and Republican Curtis Sliwa have taken the stage for the second and last debate before the biggest city in the nation picks its next mayor. This is SRN News.
I bet you've heard us say this, you can't pick your power company. So how can you control your power bill? By partnering with Ken and his local team at Broker Solar. Ken, our power is not getting any cheaper.
So every year there's typically a rate increase that happens, and the utilities claim that they want to keep up with their operating costs. Now, Broker Solar allows you to take control of that cost, own your power, create it, store it, and then use it when you need it. There's special solar financing that would take advantage of the tax credits. You can have several options on how long you'd like to pay off your solar system and how quick the return could be.
No two homes are the same, so you work with homeowners, business owners to fit their needs based on how many solar panels they need and even where they want the panels to go. Most folks prefer it on the roof, but some don't.
We frequently get asked about solar on the ground or even on a separate solar structure like a carport or a lean-to that comes off the house.
Call Broker Solar. Call them now, 803-807-7417 or online, brokersolar.com.
Hey, honey, did you help Dad look for Medicare Part D plans online?
Yes, and I think I'm more confused now than when we started.
Well, don't forget that True Pharmacy can help you with Medicare plan reviews. They can help go through his options and find a plan that works best.
Perfect. That means fewer headaches for him and for us.
That's a win-win.
True Pharmacy, the pharmacy that takes time to care. Come see us at our Columbia location at 623 Beltline Boulevard or in West Columbia at Triangle Pharmacy, 1239 D Avenue.
You want to remodel. Actually, you need to remodel. I'm Eddie Springer of Trey-Cal Builders, and with us, remodeling is easy. Whether it's your kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, or even the whole house that needs an upgrade, at Trey-Cal, we'll help you every step of the way. We do first-class work quickly, cleanly, and affordably. Call 360-8211, 360-8211, or visit TRECALbuilders.com. Trey-Cal Builders, quality from start to finish.
When your temperatures swing, your comfort shouldn't. At Sweet Comfort Services, we make sure your system is ready for anything. Get our $99 preventative maintenance, a full inspection and tune-up that keeps your equipment efficient, reliable, and safe. Thinking it's time for an upgrade? We offer estimates on new Goodman and American Standard systems. You'll get honest advice, fair pricing, and expert installation. No gimmicks, no surprises. Call 803-331-8143 or visit sweetcomfortservices.com to schedule today.
Want to hear my success story? I'm Fran Halloran, the money coach. I'm celebrating a decade of partnering with The Point. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. I've used The Point to significantly grow my small business. It started with a meeting with Kevin Cohen. Do you own a small business? Are you on a limited budget? No problem. Reach out to Kev at 563-8558. Get a customized plan and start your journey to business growth with The Point today. Success is one call away. Take the leap.
This is The Point. Make thepointradio.com.
This is Perry Orth, former South Carolina quarterback. On the field, my job was simple. Read the defense, protect the ball, and give my team the best chance to win. Off the field, at Moultrie Insurance, our job is no different. Help protect your business from the risks that you don't see coming so you can focus on moving the ball forward. Just like a good quarterback, we anticipate challenges, call the right plays, and keep you protected. Trust Moultrie Insurance to cover your blind side and keep your business in the game. Visit MoultrieINS.com today.
Straight Up Sports is simply all sports,
all the time. Straight Up Sports is a collection of retired and award-winning sports writers and sports broadcasters from around South Carolina. Like Bob Gillespie from the State Newspaper, Scott Kiefer from the Greenville News, and Mark Sturgis from ESPN Upstate. Straight Up Sports is about the stories, just like the days gone by with no editors nor managers involved. Check us out on Facebook or Twitter or online at straightupsports.net.
It's SC Wild with Major Billy Downer from the Department of Natural Resources. Major Downer is here to answer your questions about the great outdoors. Call in now at 888-898-2525 and join SC Wild on the Sports Talk Media Network.
All right, welcome in, everybody, to another edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources here on the Sports Talk Media Network. Great to have Major Billy Downer back with us once again. Always great to have the Major with us. He has a special guest. And considering the conversation of the week, Major, where we've been talking about offensive coordinators in football, you have as a special guest a coordinator within your department there at the Department of Natural Resources.
Yes, I do, Phil. It is great to join you tonight on a nice, cool evening. Before we get started, just for all the deer hunters out there, this is going to be a really good weekend because it's the first week ending that's going to be in the 40s across the Midlands here in South Carolina. So probably going to get deer up and moving. I know that myself, along with others, we have seen a lot of deer movement in the last couple of days and expect a lot this weekend. So if you're a deer hunter, this is the weekend to go out. It's not necessarily the rut, but it's definitely the pre-rut. Bucks are moving around. It would be a good time to go sit early one morning or late one evening. So get out there in the great outdoors of South Carolina and try to hunt a deer. Next few days might be successful.
Very good. Our phone number, if you have a question or comment about what the Major is going to be talking about, our phone number, 888-898-2525, 888-898-2525. You prefer to send a text message, we'll get that to the Major as well. That text message line, 803-900-4847, 803-900-4847. Major, we have your guest standing by.
Absolutely. So we do have with us tonight Emily Kearse. She is our permitting biologist for the Department of Natural Resources, and she is also in charge of our program where we have lottery hunts. So she is the voice you hear if you call in about lottery hunts. And tonight I've invited her on to talk about the lottery hunt process. Today is a special day for a lot of waterfowlers in South Carolina. This is a day that they have released the waterfowl lottery hunt results. There's a lot of broken hearts out there, a lot of happy people, and Emily has to talk to all of those, from the people that are happy to the people that are not quite so happy. Emily, thanks for joining us tonight. I promised I'd make this easy on you. First of all, Phil, she is a Clemson graduate.
Okay.
Not that that means anything this year with the football season, but we won't talk about that tonight. Emily, when did you finish Clemson?
I graduated in 2014.
2014.
I'm getting old. I'm getting up there.
Yes. Major, I would expect everybody in your department who has anything to do with the great outdoors went to Clemson. That would just be my guess.
There are a lot of them, that's for sure. And Emily is married to a very good friend of mine, one of my best friend's sons. So she bears the last name of Kearse. So those that might remember old Linwood Kearse from Lake Murray, she is Linwood's daughter-in-law. So I am pleased to have Emily Kearse on the show tonight. Emily, today was the day we released our waterfowl lottery results. I know a lot of work goes into that for you, and I know you get very tired over the last few weeks with all the questions and the phone calls. But tonight, what I wanted to talk about a little bit is explain the process for folks who may not know about it. And one of the things I like to do on the show is tell people, hey, if you like waterfowl hunting, there is no better opportunity that you have in this state than on our lottery hunts, from the mountains to the sea, all the way on the coast at the Cape, down to Bear Island, in the Midlands here in Broad River, Wateree, all the way up to Fance Grove in Clemson. There's a lot of areas you can put in for the state waterfowl draw. and there's some really quality hunts. And on the coast at the Cape, you're getting to hunt some of the finest waterfowl on the East Coast in the United States, and we are very blessed to have gotten that back in the 80s when it was given over to the state for management and finally turned over for public hunts. Our public lottery hunt for waterfowl is done by a point system, and you have to put in for these points. You put in for the hunts every year. You can either choose to get points or just put in for the points, or you can choose to try to get drawn. Typically, over the years, it's taken about 3 years to get to where you could get drawn. And that was back in the day we had 3,000 people putting in. Emily, today, how many people put in for our state waterfowl hunts?
We were just shy of 6,000 for this year's draw. So definitely increases every year, but definitely a lot more than 5-10 years ago.
All right. So if there's a way to describe how the lottery system works, how does it choose a person?
Sure. One thing I just wanted to talk about, like for our lottery hunts, for waterfowl, you could have up to 4 individuals on an application, make up a hunt party. One of the biggest mistakes is, let's say us 3 apply together. You have 4 points. The other gentleman has 4, and I have 0.
Phil, you're on a duck hunt now. Isn't that fun?
Yeah. So
I'm loving it.
4 points, and y'all want to add me because I'm an awesome shot, but I have 0 points. That's hurting y'all, because for hunt parties, we are looking at that individual with the lowest amount of points. So even though y'all have 4, your team would be going in with 0 if y'all added me.
Got it.
So and you have the ability to change your hunt party members, year to year. It's just crucial everyone in your party has the same amount of points.
So explaining that for a minute, when you put in for the waterfowl hunt, you put in through the license system, you put in for lottery hunts when it's open, typically September through October, around the 14th or 15th in October.
October 15th.
And you put in, and if you have 0 points, you can put in, just say, I want to apply for points this year. And you put your party in, you go ahead and start your group out the first year. If you've never put in before, it's the best thing to do. The first 2 to 3 years, I would say the best thing to do is just put in for points for 3 years for sure.
Especially if you're wanting to go to a property that's, very popular. Those sites, of course, take a little more time, wait time than your less popular sites.
So, and I want to point this out too.
It'll be worth the wait.
Yep. Back in the day, we had 3,000 people. Now you say we have 6,000 people. When it was 3,000 people, when you got to 3 points, you pretty much would get drawn. You knew that year you would get drawn. To have 3 points means you didn't get drawn for 3 years. So it was your 4th year putting in at $20 a year that you would get drawn, and you'd have about $80 in the deal at that point in time. But you would get drawn for a really nice area with 3 points. Now, with twice the number of people putting in, and I do know this, and Emily knows this, our department has really worked hard, and our waterfowl areas have maximized every opportunity to have spots for somebody that they can, more than we ever have in the past. So they've opened up a lot of opportunities for hunts on the days they hunt to take as many people as they possibly can, but to allow everyone to also have a safe and also enjoyable and quality experience. So with that said, we've doubled the number of people putting in. It now takes you 5 years probably before you get drawn with a group. If you're really selective, just being honest, you're going to have 4 points going in. And even then, there are people this year, just as last year, that have 4 points that didn't get drawn. And there's reasons why they may not get drawn, and they call Emily and go, why didn't I get drawn? I have 4 points. I thought this was my year. Emily, talk us through that for a minute. It's about selectivity. Go ahead.
Sure. So first thing, you can never put guarantee and lottery in the same sentence. Because like you said, people think once I got 3-4 points, I'm guaranteed to hunt. Not the case. So like based on this year, we did have a property, one of our very popular, Santee Coast Reserve. You had to have at least 4 points entering, which is equivalent to a 5-year wait. for even an opportunity to be selected. With that being said, though, I had a couple applications that went in with 4 points. They weren't picked. One reason is, these hunts near the coast, they're taking you out on boats. They do have to abide by Coast Guard regulation stuff, so they can only take so many people on boats. So they're very, restrictive on slots. So when it's going through the process and it's trying to fill the slots, if we're a party of 3, but it's trying to fill only 2 slots, of course, our application can't be picked because we would exceed the number of slots. So unfortunately, even though you went in with 4 points, it's just doing the draw. And also before the draw, the main factor is number of preference points, but each application is assigned a random number. That's where we get the randomness in the draw. So it's a random computerized drawing based on preference points. So it looks at that, but going back to why you might not be picked, if an application you're going in with 4 points and you pick 2 dates for a very popular site, I'll be honest, your chances probably are not too likely. Like I said, we have 6,000 people applying, and you've only picked 2 dates. So we understand people are busy doing other hunts, going out of the state hunting and doing other lottery hunts, but the more selective you are, that's kind of hurting your chances of being picked.
That's true. So, and also the site selection. So if you pick like Murphy Island, where they've got to take you out in a boat, there's less hunters taken to Murphy Island when we hunt Murphy Island. It's one of our most popular areas because it's a lot of ducks, and it's very remote, but the remoteness means that not as many people can hunt there. I know like the Cape, they may allow 16 people to hunt on the Cape. Well, depending on how many groups get selected, if you pick 3 groups of 3 or 4 groups of 3, that's 12. You only have 4 spots left. And if you're sitting with 4 spots left and it picks 2 people and there's only 2 spots left, it's only going to be able to pick a 2-person party. So there's lots of factors in there.
A single or like a group of 2, they kind of have a little advantage sometimes over a larger party. So
I will say this: there is a secret to all this, and I will let the secret out today on the radio. If you're wanting to get drawn and you're not worried about hunting with the group, your best chance is going as a single. And you may get drawn in 3 years. You may get drawn in 4 years. Probably not in 2, but you may get drawn earlier and more often if you put in as a single. Because, again, there's certain spots that only a single could fit anyway.
And just looking at kind of around with the data this afternoon, we do restrict, you're able to select 20 choices on your application. Some actually will pick 20, some will pick just 1 or 2, but based on the data, we had almost 150 hunters. They were selected for their 10th or 20th pick. So it's showing, if you pick a lot more sites than 1 or 2, it's kind of helping your chances of getting drawn.
Right. So, the more sites you pick, the better off you are. And I'm just like everybody else. I've got my son and my daughter on my group, and I look at the dates that they're going to be home. My daughter will come home for Christmas maybe, and I look at the site times that she can hunt and what areas are available on those dates. That limits what I can put in for if I want to have everybody in my party go. In the past, over the years, my son was on my party and he didn't go because he couldn't go the date we got selected. So there's lots of reasons why everybody wants to select the dates, and there's not a problem with that. But just wanted to give Emily a chance to talk about it because it is really a special opportunity in South Carolina. If you've never put in for the waterfowl draw, you need to do it. Even if it takes you 4 or 5 years to get in, it is a very good experience. Again, it's probably one of the best on the coast, hunting on the East Coast that you'll find, the Cape, Bear Island, Murphy Island, Cedar Island, all those areas. But we've got areas on the Midlands too. And Emily, talk about where are the other waterfowl areas throughout the state?
Sure. So I should know this, but I was trying to say how many Cat, and we call our lottery areas Cat 1 properties. But kind of in the upstate, we have our Clemson and Beaver Dam WMA, so we host some hunts up there. The Midlands, we have Watery, in Eastover, Broad River, and then most of kind of our Cat 1s, they are near the coast, Santee Coastal Reserve, Santee Delta East and West. We got Sandy Beach, and then we also host for some properties specifically just for youth, like our Bono Ferry is more for our youth waterfowl lottery.
Right, and that's I can tell you from experience, that is an awesome area to go to, and gives you a lot. I mean, it's a great opportunity for a young person. Used to be father-son type or father-daughter. It was a youth plus an adult, and we changed it just to youth. But it used to be adult and a youth a long time ago, and that was a lot of fun too. But, so waterfowl hunts are premium. A lot of interest in those. Folks across the state put in for those. Wait for that, that fourth year, fifth year where they can possibly get drawn. And there's a lot of energy in that and a lot of disappointment if you don't get drawn. But it does come, and when it does come, it's worth it. Emily, talk about what other lottery opportunities do we have for hunts outside of alligator? We talked about alligator on other parts of the show, but what other lottery style hunts do we have?
So last year was our last turkey lottery hunt, so we no longer do turkey. So we host lottery hunts for 4 different species. We have our alligator, as you mentioned, a deer, quail, and waterfowl. So
what's our deer lottery hunts? Where are those located?
Across the state. Our deer, it's not complicated, but for our deer lottery, we actually have 6 different deer lotteries. Our most popular deer lottery is down at the Webb Center in Hanson County. We offer some rifle hunts down there. We provide lodging and, as you know, the best fried chicken in the South.
Absolutely.
That's why most people apply for that hunt, because it's just very catered. It's a great hunt.
It's a true plantation style hunt experience.
Yes, you get to stay in the old plantation home, take you to the stand. Like I said, the best fried chicken. It's very catered, a wonderful experience. But just like our other, it takes a couple years, but the wait will be worth it.
Yep, it is a lot of fun. And then there's a couple of places you put in for a lottery that you get selected for days, and you can hunt on those days, and those are fun too. And groups can do that.
Unlike waterfowl, which you only have usually hunting ends at 11 a.m. Most of our deer hunts, they're multiple day hunts. They're usually 2.5 days.
All right. And talk about the quail hunt for a minute, because that piqued my interest. I didn't even know we did a quail. What's our lottery quail hunt?
This is the second year we've added a new property. Typically, quail lottery's only been at MACB, WMA. But this year and last year, we added Bob White Hills, WMA. And they're adding a few more hills there. They're doing a lot of habitat work. They're really trying to get the whistle back. But I just handle a lot of the application. I can't take credit for all the hard work like Raleigh and Don Cockman have done on MACB. But there's birds out in those property, wild birds. So.
Well, that's a lot of fun. That's good. So, again, Emily, you do a lot of behind-the-scenes work with the lottery hunts, and I know you often don't get thanked for the hard work you do, and especially when people call in and they're not so happy sometimes. You have to take those calls, and I know that gets tiring, but I want to thank you for everything you do. And before we go tonight, I want to talk about the other optional waterfowl hunts that we started in the last few years, with the option to go with the South Carolina Wildlife Partnership, how that actually works in partnership with them.
Sure. You want me to talk about it?
Yes, you go ahead.
Sure.
I'm going to let you talk. I know you're used to me talking, but I'm going to let you talk.
I'm sure most people have applied. During the application process, at the end of the application, a little pop-up comes up, and it does talk about the South Carolina Wildlife Partnership. And it's asking if you want to opt in. There's no additional fee. It just wants to make sure we're able to give out your contact information to SCWP. And how it works, when we do our draw and you're not selected and you have opted in, we provide your information to SCWP, and they do their own kind of second chance drawing, and they host hunts on private lands, And if you're picked for one of their hunts, it does not affect your DNR points. There's no additional fees. You just have to have, of course, the proper licenses and stuff. But we understand our wait times are a little bit longer, so this is just kind of more an extra incentive, to get out there in the woods. So,
absolutely,
that's how.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so before we go again, I want to review kind of a little bit tutorial on lottery hunts, particularly waterfowl hunts. For those that may be asking, I kind of want to learn about this. Again, great opportunity. How the lottery hunt works. You go in on the Go Outdoors SC webpage or on your phone, and when the lottery hunts are open, you click on the lottery hunts icon inside that licensing system, and once you log in, and that enables you to put in for whatever lottery hunts are available at that time. They'll pop up, and you can put in for those hunts. On the waterfowl side, the clues that we're giving you tonight, a couple of keys to understand is, first of all, first couple years, 1, 2, and 3, might be best just to put in for points. Unless you're applying as a single person, you might get a chance that third year. But most of the time, take your time, gain your points. Remember, like Emily said, make sure that everybody in your party has the same number of points. If you bring somebody in after 3 years of gathering points and they had 0 points, your party number goes to 0. So you want to make sure everybody in your party has been putting in and has the same number of points if you want to get drawn together in the time that you've put in for it. So again, put in for those points. Around that 4th or 5th year, you can start putting in for the draw hunt, to put in for dates. As many dates as you can is the best option. I know a lot of us have places we want to go. Put those at the top. Again, like Emily said, you can put in for 20 places. Pick the ones you want first, but pick a bunch more so you have some options to go hunting somewhere. Because I can tell you, the Cape, the Murphy Island, those were all great hunts last year. I will give those reports again this year. Listen to what the birds are in those areas, because you can learn next year where you need to put in for if you want to go on one of our waterfowl lottery hunts in the future. Emily, any closing thoughts tonight before we let you go?
I'm always a phone call away. I'm here to help. If people always have questions, I know a lot of word on the street gets twisted, but you can give out my phone number. I'm just a phone call away. I can always help with application, answer questions. So I'm here to help.
Well, Emily, thank you for joining us on the show tonight. Phil, that's going to wrap up our talk on lottery hunts tonight. But again, this week, good cold weather. If you're going to deer hunt, this is a good time to go the next few days. Next few mornings are going to be really cool. Might catch a buck slipping through there.
Major, I would say that Emily is a coordinator we can all like.
Absolutely. She holds the keys to the kingdom.
I think I broke a lot of people's hearts, but
well,
in a few years, I'll get more people to like me.
We thank you. We really appreciate it. Major, great job. Thank you. We'll talk to you in a couple of weeks.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the show tonight.
Thank you. Same here. Major Billy Downer. That is tonight's edition of SC Wild from the Department of Natural Resources right here on Sports Talk. If you missed any of that, it will be up later on in podcast form at SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts, pretty much. All right, that's going to do it for us. Enjoyed it. Appreciate you being with us tonight. Tomorrow night, Thursday night, we'll have another big show for you. A lot of stuff leading up to South Carolina, Alabama football. Talk more about it. Dive in more deeply into our thoughts and our picks, and the same with you. Thank you, Plummer. Have a great night, everybody. See you tomorrow.
WQXL Columbia W264DF.
From the